Hey, what is up? Right off the bat, I apologize if I maybe sound a little bit different or a little low energy in this video. I'm just getting over a cold. But anyway, with that out of the way, for this video, I actually want to talk about a kind of interesting, I'd almost call it Better Call Saul conspiracy theory surrounding the fact that Kim Wexler doesn't have a middle name. Now, this fact was revealed to us in season 5 of Better Call Saul in the episode entitled JMM, where during the scene of Jimmy and Kim getting married in that episode, we hear the judge state the fact that Kim doesn't have a middle name.
Here we go. Here we go. Oh. Do you, James Morgan McGill, take Kimberly Wexler to... No middle name.
Now, after this episode aired, I saw a lot of threads all over the internet, including Twitter, surrounding what was the meaning behind the fact that Kim didn't have a middle name. Why was this presented to us in this episode? You know, there must be some sort of deeper meaning behind the fact that the creators decided to not give Kim Wexler a middle name. But unfortunately, I have to say that I don't think this is a deeper meaning type situation here, and is actually just the creators displaying to us continuity in the plot of Better Call Saul. Because interestingly, if we go back all the way to season 1 of Better Call Saul in the episode entitled Rico, during the very first scene in Act 1, following Kim returning to her office to unpack her belongings, following Howard letting her return to her office, where in the previous episode entitled Bingo, she was kicked out of her office and sent to the cornfields in the basement, following her losing the Kettlemans as a client, of course, following the long plot where Jimmy gets them to take the deal that Kim made for them in the previous episode with the help of Mike Ehrmantraut, we see in the next episode entitled Rico a close-up shot of Kim Wexler's diploma. Now, interestingly, this law school diploma says her name here, Kimberly Wexler, and this diploma does not provide us with a middle name. And I'm not really sure here, as I don't have very many diplomas to look over. But anyway, I'm pretty sure in official diplomas like this, they list out your entire complete name here. So if Kim Wexler did have a middle name, they would definitely provide it on a diploma like this. But I guess because the creators didn't give her a middle name in this episode, they decided that in the name of continuity, all the way down the line in season 5 of Better Call Saul when Jimmy and Kim got married, that this continuity should stay this way, and they shouldn't just insert a middle name here for Kim Wexler, because it would contradict the shot of the diploma we saw all the way back in season 1. And again, this is actually pretty common from what I'm aware of. I know a lot of Germanic cultures, including places like the Czech Republic and all over Europe. I know that it's quite common for people not to use middle names. So personally, even in the United States, I know a lot of people who don't have middle names. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just continuity here and doesn't really have a sort of deeper meaning that was presented to us in this episode. Now, interestingly, this is not the only time that we've seen a scene in the plot of Better Call Saul or the plot of Breaking Bad. And speaking of which, this scene of this continuity in this episode actually reminds me of the very final episode of Breaking Bad entitled Felina, where following Walter White returning to Albuquerque from New Hampshire and him making a call on a payphone to discover the new address of Elliot and Gretchen following them changing houses, we see him following the end of this phone call, placing his watch on top of the phone booth and then leaving.
Goodbye.
Now again, a lot of people wondered what was the sort of significant higher meaning of this scene here. Why did Walter White take off his watch and place it on top of the phone bank? But actually, it was actually pretty interesting because following this episode, when they did a sort of panel discussion live immediately after, I believe this question was raised to Vince Gilligan, and he essentially said the reason why the scene had to happen was because of continuity. Because we remember in season 5, the first episode entitled Live Free or Die, we see Walter White at the diner, Denny's, not wearing this watch. This is, of course, because the entire storyline had not been crafted yet at the time the scene was made, and Walter White did not receive that watch he wore throughout the course of Season 5 of Better Call Saul until his 51st birthday, when Jesse Pinkman gave him that watch in the episode entitled 51.
Oh, hey, like you said, it was your birthday, so I left the receipt in the box in case you want to exchange it. Anyway, hey, happy birthday.
So again, just a matter of continuity here, and not necessarily some deeper meaning that's placed here by the creators. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't, as an audience or as someone watching the show, prescribe your own meaning to these scenes. And I think that's what makes Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad such a great show, because unless something is outwardly described and explicitly stated to us, each individual person can prescribe their own meaning to the unique different scenes and dialogue over the course of these two series. This actually also reminds me of another scene in the plot of Better Call Saul during the very first episode of Season 2 entitled Switch, where during the meet between Price and Nacho in that episode, we see a scene of a hummingbird fly right in the center of the screen during the aerial shot of the scene and then fly away. And again, following listening to the Better Call Saul Insider podcast after this episode, they discussed this scene, and it was revealed to us that they decided to leave this take in because a bird just happened to fly right in the center of the screen and fly out and look directly in the camera. It was a pretty cool shot.
In your scene with Nacho, Mark, we have this giant wide shot of the factory, and for whatever reason, a hummingbird flew into frame, stopped dead center, hovered there for a second, and flew out again.
Wow.
And Kelly used it in the cut, and I was like,
It was amazing. I saw it, and I'm like, wow, we have to use this. And then I
and we
showed
just left it in.
But of course, as it was stated by the creators here during this podcast, in a sort of almost joking way, what does this mean, though?
And then it was funny because when you were in my room, you're like, that's great, but what does it mean? And so then I'm like, well, we definitely have to find a use for this.
It's a drone.
You know, sort of alluding to the fact that every little thing in the plot of Better Call Saul can be parsed out and can be prescribed subtle meaning. So again, just a pretty interesting scene here, and just a kind of reminder that the meaning kind of comes afterwards and is not necessarily written in to each specific scene. That being said, in regards to this diploma of Kim Wexler, which kind of gives away why she didn't have a middle name when they got married in Season 5, I do have to say that this kind of brings me back to the infamous plot hole of Saul Goodman's diploma, which I have discussed many times, and I've really waffled and vacillated on regarding whether or not this plot hole will even be addressed in the plot of Better Call Saul next season, due to the fact that we know, based on the backstory of Jimmy McGill, there's no way he got a master's degree from the University of American Samoa in 1984, when it was clear that he didn't even get his law degree until the 90s after he was working in the mailroom at HHM.
You passed the bar?
Yeah, I did. I thought if Kim can do it, maybe I can too, you know? So I got my last few credits for undergrad from a community college. I mean, they're not just for draft dodgers and yoga classes, all right? And I found a law school that would accept me. I mean, it wasn't Georgetown or anything, but the University of American Samoa.
And while part of me thought that this plot detail wouldn't be addressed next season, because we could just use artistic license here to explain away Saul's diploma as him just trying to show off or maybe be insecure about his education, I really feel that due to the fact that we know we're going to see Saul Goodman's office next season, I wonder if we'll see a scene of Saul hanging up this fake diploma, and maybe even Kim Wexler having something to do with this, sort of questioning Saul's decision here. I mean, interestingly, it was actually leaked prior to the release of Season 6 of Better Call Saul that we do see a scene of Kim Wexler outside of the law offices of Saul Goodman and Associates. So while we know for certain that Kim will be involved as part of this storyline and will set foot in this office, it appears, based on this behind the scenes fan footage here, I really think that this plot detail might be addressed next season. So yeah, that's all I really got for you guys on this one. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this clears up any mystery surrounding why they didn't give Kim Wexler a middle name in the plot of season 5 of Better Call Saul. That being said, let me know what you think about this theory and whether or not this idea of continuity pretty much sums up the fact surrounding Kim's middle name. As always, thank you very much for watching and commenting on these videos. I really appreciate it. And as always, my name is Anton Jackson. Thank you again so much for watching this video.